You know, when you and I have an extended harvest and we start to see high temperatures, no more than today is 48 degrees, and tomorrow maybe in the low 50s, the fall starts to progress. And those of us that do tillage for corn on corn start to get nervous. You look here at the evidence of tracks and standing water, you realize this field has to have something done to it to have success in the 2019 growing crop. So we're going to come in here for Ripper and we'll address this kind of a gait problem. But what about major acres? As the fall goes on, temperatures are staying cool, and we have a lot of saturated soils. What are our options? For me, we're going to go ahead and address that tillage by going in with a bullet. We know that as we shallow up rippers, the berm starts to become more pronounced on the OEM points. So I love the fact that the bullet has a 14-inch wingspan. Even though we will shallow up a couple inches, we're going to do a tremendous job of eliminating compaction and taking care of any density changes that happen in the 2018 growing season. I get a lot of questions about what about an inline ripper in these really saturated soils and wet conditions. Remember, you got to get a lot of depth on an inline ripper, and when it's not dry, you're not going to get the lift and the fracturing from shank to shank that we like to see, so we have to jump back into the V-ripper family. When you see ruts like this, or even deeper, realize we're not going to fix it all in one pass this fall. It's going to be a multi-year process. For us, we change direction every year. 1 year straight, next year all to the left, next year all those fields to the right. So we eliminate it over a 3-year period. Take a look at this vegetable field that we are hired by a grower to come in and fix with our track tractors and bullets. It was a 2-pass operation to get this field back in planting condition. With the saturated harvest we have this year, it's a challenge to get tillage done right. Let's check in with some of our regional managers, whether that's in Michigan, Minnesota, or Western Iowa, and see the things that they're facing and the questions they're getting. What are the next steps to set ourselves up for a great 2019?
Aaron Phillips, 360 Yield Center here, coming to you from southern Minnesota. Beautiful day, the weather has changed, had a nice couple days, and the extended forecast looks really good. Guys are finally able to get out in the fields with their combines, taking corn out. Some guys are taking some beans out, but again, it looks really good here for the foreseeable future. One thing to keep in mind, soils are still very saturated. We're leaving a lot of ruts. We're really condensing that soil structure, a lot of compaction. So the next thing that's going to be happening is rippers are going to start running. Just don't get out there too soon. Again, remember, it's going to be very wet down in the soil. We want to make sure that we're getting rid of the ruts that we're creating with our combines and grain carts and trucks, but also we still want to be able to get down underneath the hard pan so we can fracture that, bust it up, fracture it with our bullet points, so we undo all the damage that we're causing this fall because of the wet conditions.
Stephanie Smith, Regional Agronomy Manager at 360 Yield Center, and welcome to the harvest of 2018. It's been very, very wet here in southern Michigan. When we have wet weather during harvest, we're never going to change it. We just have to roll with the punches and manage our fields as well as possible. With that said, we are going to be in wet soil harvest conditions. The crop is ready. We're starting to diminish quality of corn and soybeans, so it's really time to get in those fields. So ruts and tearing up the ground is something that's probably going to happen. So what we need to do is we need to manage through this as best ways as possible. We see ruts such as this. Okay, a lot of farmers may come in with a disc and alleviate the top rut. But we really need to think about is what's going on beneath that. Yes, we can go across these fields with that disc and smooth it out. But when we think about what causes that rut or causes compaction is really beneath that tire track. You know, we have that soil that gets condensed, we lose oxygen down in that soil profile, and really agronomically what we need to do is we need to restore oxygen within that profile. So yes, you can take a disc across here. However, we really need to eliminate the compaction which was created with that wet track across the field. The basic rule of thumb is we go 1 inch deeper than where our layer of compaction is at. And for everyone it's going to be different. I suggest take a tile prod or take a compaction probe out there, figure out where, as you progress down through that soil, where that compaction is at. So again, this will happen. Unfortunately, there's not too much we're going to do about it this year. But we need to eliminate the compaction, we need to restore the oxygen to the profile, and how we do that is we find that hard pan and we set our ripper about an inch deeper.
I'm Larry Gertz, Territory Account Manager with 360 Yield Center. Like many areas in the upper Midwest here in this 2018 crop growing season, the state of Iowa has dealt with some pretty significant rain events, parts of the state being super saturated through the entire growing season, parts of the state being inundated with rain in the middle of the growing season as well as the later part of the season, and other parts of the state dealing with these rain events later stages of the growing cycle as well as the early part of harvest. As a whole, the state has been dealing with an extended harvest delay. There's little doubt that most of us have a lot more to accomplish in a much more compact window of time than we originally planned, including simply getting the crop off the field, as well as the potential to do fall tillage or to look at getting a fall anhydrous application out there. Recognizing not only these time constraints but also these field conditions that exist out here, challenge you to think about how we can utilize some of the tools that are available today to position that nitrogen with that growing crop next season. When it comes to getting nitrogen into our corn crop, we know there is value in the timing, the placement, and the accuracy of every application of nitrogen we make. The challenge to you right now is to focus your energy and time on harvesting that crop and getting any necessary fall tillage done. And in the weeks ahead, consider how 360 Bandit can allow you to do planter applied nitrogen, and how 360 Y-drop side dress can allow you to do early season nitrogen application, and how 360 Y-drop in a higher clearance sprayer scenario can allow you to do mid and later season nitrogen applications to feed that plant when it needs it, where it needs it, and with the accuracy that it needs.